All right, well, the issue for a lot of small businesses isn't just the minimum wage going up, but going up as dramatically as it has or likely will. Keep in mind, if you have an average of about $7 or $7.50 an hour and you double it, that's not just a minor leap, that's a pretty big leap. And small business expert Susan Solovic says small businesses are already being regulated to death. Richard Goodstein, a big Democratic player and very influential in liberal circles and very big hearts all, says she's nuts and she should just take a chill pill. All right, so, Richard, you think that businesses are overreacting. Why?
Well, I can't really speak to the economics of doubling the minimum wage, but you're familiar with the Card-Kruger study from a few years ago where they had fast food locations on opposite sides of the Pennsylvania-New Jersey border. One had a higher minimum wage than the other. And guess what? There was actually no difference. If anything, it was additive for the side that had the minimum.
What was the difference in the wage? Was it double?
I agree. It was not double. But again,
then there's no comparison at all.
No, well, but my point is that labor is not a commodity in the sense that there's morale that you don't have if you're a commodity. You don't have turnover concerns.
You double the cost of something, whether you're across the street or across the continent. People will gravitate to the lower cost environment. Frankly, I mean, I just think that's a gimme. Okay, obviously
all I'm saying is we've seen controlled experiments.
That's my worry, and I think he's a great guy. I'm just telling you, I don't have the money to pay for his big heart.
That's absolutely true. Poor small businesses. We are in an era of hyper-regulation, and you've got the increase in minimum wage issue. You've got the expansion of the overtime eligibility. Where is this money going to come from? 2/3 of the workers work for small businesses, and small businesses are not rebounding at this pace larger companies are. We've got a bifurcated recovery in this country right now. Small businesses are rebounding at a very snail's pace. It's costing them 55% of the burden regulations put on the cost, which is trillions of dollars. 55% of that falls on small businesses. Guess what? Something's got to give. It's going to give in terms of jobs. It's going to give in the fact that small businesses are going to go out of business. You're going to see fewer startups. And where does job creation come from? It comes from small businesses. Innovation comes from small businesses. And ironically, Neil, in 2011, President Obama wrote an op-ed for the Wall Street Journal. And I'm going to paraphrase this, but in essence, he said that some of these rules and regulations have placed an undue burden on business, and now that's causing a lack of innovation, putting a chill on growth and putting a chill on jobs. And yet, what is he doing? He's just laying more and more and more of it on us. I tell you, my organization, the Small Business and Entrepreneurship Council, right now today is lobbying the Department of Labor to try to get its act together and realize what the real consequences of these actions will be on small business.
Well, Richard, I hope you're proud of yourself. So here's where we stand, Richard, that you have a big heart, but you always are doing the big on taxpayers' money. And that's a liberal sort of a process that I see going on here, that everyone would espouse, hey, pay everyone more money, until you have to crunch the numbers and realize that we are paying for that. And these poor workers, in either getting their hours adjusted or their benefits cut or just have their fannies fired, are the ones who ultimately suffer. What do you think of that?
So to listen to Susan, you'd think the bottom was dropping out from under small business. And here's what runs contrary to that. Gallup, as you know, Susan and Neil, does a quarterly small business index survey. And the survey results from this past quarter showed a higher level of optimism among small business than any time since.
Yeah, but few of them are paying that $15 wage now.
Richard, let me say
few of them
this.
are in that camp
hold
of
on a
having
second,
to pay
Susan.
that.
Whoa. Well, listen, as to overtime, look, the fact is we were at 1975 standards until this recent adjustment.
Richard, are you paying for this, though? You're not, right? Of course. Richard, if you were treating me out to dinner, I would order 2 appetizers. I'd order 3 desserts. I'd order the most expensive twist-off bottle cap of wine that I could. Because Richard's treating. You don't have to worry about it. So of course you're for doubling the minimum wage. It's
Richard,
not
I want to know how many times you've taken payroll out of your own pocket and gone without your salary just to make sure your employees have paid. I've done it many times. And I tell you, it's tough on a small business owner.
But we're not disagreeing, Susan, are we, with the notion that people should get a fair day's wage for a fair day of work, right?
But when has a fair wage gone up to doubling it, and just assuming that it can be easily paid?
And you're also
I was talking about overtime.
Okay.
You're also
Right.
taking away small businesses' opportunity to incentivize employees the way they want. Let's look at startups. I had an internet startup. I couldn't pay market value for my employees. So how did I get the best and the brightest to come to work with me? I gave them an opportunity to get
Stock.
equity, profit sharing,
Exactly.
things like
There you
that.
go.
People who work at McDonald's don't have that option. I mean, look.
Well, then do they
good
want
for
to
you
work at
that you're able to
McDonald's their
attract
entire
that.
life? Really? Seriously? That's the job they aspire to?
All right, guys, I wish you had more time. We saved a lot of time at the end here by all talking over each other. Otherwise, you're quite right. That could have been problematic. But I thank you both, and I very, very much
Sure, Neil.
appreciate it. Let's take a look at what's going on with oil right now.